Ever since he was a boy growing up in Cedar Ridge, Texas, Cole Matthews knew life wasn't going to hand him anything easy. Raised by a single mom who worked double shifts at the diner just to make ends meet, he learned early on that being a man wasn't about muscles or swagger, it was about character. At 32, Cole had become one of the most respected men in his town. He was a firefighter, a mentor to young men, and the guy people called when they didn't know who else to turn to. But what really set Cole apart was the quiet strength he carried inside, the kind that didn't demand attention, but earned respect. Cole wasn't always like that. In his early 20s, he made mistakes. He got into fights, chased shallow validation, and pushed people away. But life taught him hard lessons, and over time, he made a silent promise to himself, to be a man who leads with principle, not pride. It was a cold February morning when Cole walked into the local gym where he often trained before his shift. As he pushed open the door, the warm air inside clashed with the winter chill. He nodded at a few familiar faces and headed to the locker room. That's where he found Josh, a younger guy who had recently joined the fire department. Josh was staring at his phone, looking visibly upset. Cole approached him calmly. "Everything all right, man?" Josh looked up. "Yeah. No. I just got into it with my ex. She's telling people stuff that ain't true." Cole didn't speak right away. Instead, he sat down on the bench next to him. "You know," Cole finally said, "there was a time I would have lost my mind over something like that. Tried to defend myself to everyone, argue back, set the record straight. But strong men don't waste energy proving themselves to people who've already decided who you are." Josh nodded, his eyes still on the floor. "I get it, but it just feels like I gotta say something." "You don't," Cole said gently. "You gotta be something. Let your actions say what words never can." That was one of the many moments where Cole's quiet principles shone through. He wasn't just speaking from a place of theory, he lived by a code, one that life had forged in fire. Later that week, Cole visited his mom, Karen, who still lived in the same house he grew up in. She had made her famous chicken pot pie, and as they sat across the table, she asked him something that stuck with him. "Cole, how come you never get angry anymore? Not like when you were younger." He smiled. "It's not that I don't get angry. I just don't let anger drive the car anymore. That road always ends in a crash." Karen reached over and patted his hand. "You've grown into the kind of man your father would have been proud of." Cole's father, a soldier, had died when Cole was just 6. He didn't have many memories, but he clung to the few stories his mom had shared. One in particular always stood out: how his dad once stepped between two soldiers fighting over a misunderstanding and defused the situation without lifting a finger. His weapon wasn't aggression. It was calm. That was the example Cole wanted to follow. Back at the fire station a few days later, Cole and the team responded to a house fire just outside of town. A single mom and her 2 daughters had been trapped in an upstairs bedroom. Cole was the first one up the ladder. He smashed through the window and shielded the kids as the team passed them down one by one. His back would ache for weeks after that, but he never once mentioned it. When local news came to cover the rescue, they asked to interview Cole. He politely declined. "I didn't do anything my brothers wouldn't have done," he said. That was the thing about Cole. Strong men like him didn't seek credit. They did what needed to be done and moved on. One night, he and Josh grabbed dinner after a long shift. Over plates of ribs and sweet tea, Josh asked him, "Do you ever feel like you're missing out by not speaking your mind more often? Don't you ever want to put people in their place?" Cole laughed. "You ever win a fight and still feel like you lost something?" Josh thought for a moment. "Yeah, a few times." "Exactly," Cole said. "Strong men don't fight battles that don't matter. You gotta know which wars are worth showing up for." Josh leaned back. "Man, I hope I grow into what you've become." Cole looked him in the eye. "You will, if you stay grounded. You stop lying to yourself. You keep promises, even the hard ones. And you never let fear make your decisions for you." Another lesson Cole lived by was not comparing himself to others. Years ago, he had a friend named Travis who always seemed to be doing better. Better job, better truck, better girl. It ate Cole up inside. Until one day, Travis lost everything in a shady investment scheme. What stuck with Cole wasn't the fall, but how empty Travis felt when he realized everything he built was to impress people who didn't matter. From that point on, Cole vowed to measure success by one thing: peace of mind. In the spring, Cole began volunteering at the high school, mentoring kids from difficult homes. One of them, a 17-year-old named Mason, had a temper like a ticking time bomb. Cole saw a reflection of his younger self and took the boy under his wing. Week after week, they met up for coffee, sometimes in silence, sometimes deep in conversation. "Why do you care?" Mason asked one day. "Because someone once cared about me when I was just as lost," Cole replied. Mason looked skeptical. "So what's your secret? How do you stay strong all the time?" Cole chuckled. "I don't. I break down. I just don't stay broken. Strong men don't pretend to be bulletproof. We just patch ourselves up and keep moving." By summer, Mason had transformed. His teachers saw a difference. His mother cried during a school meeting, grateful that someone had finally reached her son. As time passed, Cole's name came up for a leadership position in the fire department. He was offered a captain's role in another city. It paid more. It came with more benefits. But it also meant leaving Cedar Ridge behind. He thought about it for weeks. At a town charity event, a boy ran up to him and hugged his leg. "Thank you for saving my dog in the fire," he said. The boy's mom mouthed a silent thank you from across the room. That night, Cole turned down the promotion. His reason was simple. Strong men don't abandon the people who need them most for a bigger paycheck. It was fall when Cole faced one of the hardest decisions of his life. His mom had been diagnosed with early-stage cancer. The doctors were hopeful, but it meant she needed constant care during her treatments. He took a leave from the department, moved into her house temporarily, and devoted himself fully. He cooked, cleaned, drove her to every appointment, and made her laugh during the darkest days. "You don't have to do this," Karen said one evening, tears in her eyes. "I do," Cole whispered. "Because strong men don't run from responsibility. We show up." By the end of the year, his mother was in remission. On Christmas morning, surrounded by family and friends, Cole stood quietly near the fireplace, sipping coffee. He watched the people he loved laugh, exchange gifts, and just be together. Josh approached him with a grin. "So, I made a list." "A list?" Cole asked. "Yeah, of everything you've taught me this year. 10 things strong men never do." Cole smiled. "Let me guess. They don't complain, don't lie, don't blame others." Josh laughed. "Exactly. And number 10, strong men don't forget where they came from." Cole looked